Hello, everybody. We are here again. This is a Champ Chat. Ring and React has just finished. Ken has gone off to work, and now we're here. Some may call us professionals, some may call us idiots, but that's your choice. So we are going to go over all the matches of the weekend and have a general discussion about the championship. Of course, we're going to cover Wrexham. I suppose we have to cover Birmingham a little bit because John's here. You know, we have to be fair to him. But we will generally cover a bit of everything. So get your comments in if there's anything you want to mention about the different matches, and we will try and cover it. So, how are you, John?
I'm good. I'm going to say, if you wanted, we could just skip Wrexham and Birmingham, to be fair, this weekend. Even though we won, it wasn't exciting. So, well, apart from the last minute, but yeah. No, but no, all good.
Hang on a sec. It seems to be subscriber only. Okay, well, it shouldn't be. Can you talk for a sec? Let's see if I have settings here to change that. I don't think I can, but...
Yeah, sure. Well, I'm going to say, we looking through all the scores, there's a few interesting games this weekend. I think in the predictions or the footy tip show, I put through, I think I had 1-0, and it wasn't the one that was 0-0. But apart from that, we had pretty much goals everywhere. There was more goals in one particular game at the top of that list, but and a few really surprising results, I would say. A few big teams losing out to necessarily smaller teams, not to hurt people's feelings there. But no, all in all, I think it was an exciting weekend in the Championship. So all good fun.
I just had a quick check. It does look like it's open to everybody. So just a little mistake there, maybe. So we are good to go. Yeah, so I'll do a quick rundown of the matches here. So this weekend, we had Derby County 3, Coventry City 5. Massive amount of goals there, 8. Portsmouth lost out to Norwich City 1-2. Wrexham lost out to West Brom. Lots of away wins today. Wrexham losing 2-3 to West Brom. Blackburn Rovers lost 1-2 to Birmingham City. Bristol Rovers and Charlton had a 0-0 draw, which has been rare enough so far. Millwall lost out 0-3 to Middlesbrough, again another away win. One of the home wins, we have Preston North End 2-1 versus Leicester City. Now I'm sure we'll talk about that. That's an interesting result. Sheffield Wednesday, who I'm sure people will keep an eye on this season, losing by 3 goals to Stoke City, who were away. Swansea City won 1-0 versus Sheffield United. Another talking point tonight. Sheffield United fans are losing their shit after 2 matches, so that's fun to watch. Watford won 2-1 for a home win against Queen's Park Rangers. And then we had Ipswich Town, another draw, 1-1 with Southampton. Interesting, strong teams coming down from the Prem there, splitting the points. Hull City then won at home 3-2 versus Oxford United. Oxford, another team that are often getting picked to go down for relegation this season. And even Hull City has been picked by a lot of people to be down near that relegation zone as well. So what crazy results pretty much stand out to you there?
It has to be the one top of the list, doesn't it? 3-5. That's 8 goals. That's a crazy game, isn't it, for Derby?
Doesn't happen too often.
No, it doesn't. And to be fair, very out of character for a John Eustace side. I think if you ask any sort of football fan that's had Eustace as a manager, they would say the one thing his sides always are is organised, tough to beat. But they've conceded a fair few goals now, isn't it? I think in 2 games. I think they conceded 3 on the first game, so that's 6 goals conceded now, is it? I think.
So Coventry and Stoke. Where's Stoke?
Stoke are top.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
I would imagine Derby. I was talking about Derby, not Stoke.
Yeah. I was going to say, I would imagine Derby.
Yeah, Derby. That right down the end. Lost 2 matches, 8 goals against so far. Obviously 5 from Coventry, but 3
Yeah.
in their first match as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's not great. So let's just do a quick rundown of the leaderboard. So Stoke have done well. Middlesbrough and West Bromwich Albion both taking out their first 2 matches. Anything surprising about that?
I would probably say the West Brom one is probably a little bit. Well, West Brom. I'm not too surprised with Stoke, considering they played Derby and Sheffield Wednesday, 2 sides I would say most people would expect to be in the bottom 6, 7 teams.
Bit of an easy start.
Bit of an easy start, you would say, on paper. May not turn out that way. But yeah, Middlesbrough. I mean, obviously Middlesbrough's result against Millwall was a very surprising result. And I would still say West Brom going to you guys and winning the way they did was a very surprising result. So those 2 getting 2 out of 2 is a bit of a surprise for me. So
okay, then on 1 win, 1 draw, we have Bristol City, Coventry City, Birmingham City, Preston North End, Southampton, Hull City, Charlton Athletic. Now I was going to say there's no point really going through those. Because there's so many of them and it's only 2 matches. But Charlton Athletic stands out for me. 4 points in their first 2 matches is pretty good versus anybody in the Championship, to be honest, because a lot of people were picking them to go straight back down.
Yeah, I mean, as daft as it sounds, everyone says if you can average 2 points per game,
yeah,
that's promotion race, isn't it?
That's playoffs, yeah.
I mean, I know it's 2 games, so it's you take it with a pinch of salt. But for a team like Charlton that have just come up, who, all right, they have spent a fair amount of money compared to others, but yeah, it's a very solid start. Unfortunately, very typical of what I suspect Nathan Jones's team will do at this level. It pains me to say.
Yeah, well, 1 point average will generally get you sucked into the relegation with it not being enough, and 2 points will usually have you in around the playoffs somewhere, and actually fighting for promotion in a lot of leagues. But the last couple of seasons, the numbers have been very strong in Championship, so even 2 might not get you promoted, but it's very strong, certainly. Okay, then the next group have 1 win, 1 loss. So we have Norwich City, Leicester City, Portsmouth, Watford, Swansea City, who had their big win against Sheffield United, which was good for them. And then Millwall. Nothing too crazy there. Look, everybody wins and loses. We can have a look at them in a little bit. 2 draws for Ipswich Town. Then 1 draw is Queen's Park Rangers, and then everybody on no points so far. We have 6 teams. We have Wrexham, Oxford United, Blackburn Rovers, Derby County, Sheffield Wednesday, and Sheffield United. So obviously we haven't got off to a great start, but I would say that we have had decent teams to go up against. Shame we didn't pull a draw out of something, but I'm not crazy worried about it. We can talk about that later. Oxford have been pipped to go down. Sheffield Wednesday have been called to go down. So then Sheffield United is a promotion chaser, and nobody has them been low this season, obviously, after the first 2. So I mentioned people are losing their shit online, which is quite funny, actually.
Yeah, the toys are coming out the pram, aren't they? Let's be honest.
Yeah. Now, I will just say before we go into the discussion on it later, I did say that Sheffield United potentially have a bit of slippage this season. It's very possible with the new owners, new style, new tactics, new ideas, that can often be quite difficult. Now, I don't expect them to go down outside the playoffs. That would be a bad season for them, obviously, but interesting so far. So anything else of note that I haven't mentioned?
No, I think you've nailed all of it, to be fair. Just not a great weekend for Sheffield, was it, really, looking at our table?
Yeah, both Sheffield teams, no points so far. Okay, so I'll pull this down so everybody can see our lovely faces. So you lead the way. Where do you want to start?
I suppose we've got to start at Derby versus Coventry, haven't it? 8 goals.
Okay.
Yeah, it was the early kickoff as well, wasn't it? I think kicked off same time as you guys did, I think.
Maybe I thought it's later. Doesn't really matter.
Doesn't matter.
I suppose either way.
But yeah, no, I thought the most outstanding stat of this game was it's 8 goals scored and it's 8 different goal scorers in the entire game, which to me just sounds a bit bonkers, really. I mean, you would have thought at least a game with 8 goals, you would think somebody would have bagged a brace somewhere. But no, it was. I saw the scores popping up on my phone as it was going on, and yeah, I'm going to say at 3-3, you kind of thought, well, that might be that, but then Derby's defence committed suicide a little bit, and I know the Derby fans are not particularly happy with a certain Dion Sanderson, who's on loan from Birmingham, who apparently has given away 2 goals against Stoke on the opening day, and gave away a penalty and defended like a clown in this game as well. So
yeah, I was going to mention the 2 penalties, one for each side. Did you have any issues with the penalties?
Not really, no. If I'm honest, I do. I'm not going to defend Sanderson because I think it's a penalty. I think it's minimal contact. I think Sanderson's leg's gone out there and the guy's fallen over the leg, shall we say. I thought Sanderson was daft because I think he turns his back in that tackle. He kind of put his back and he's left his leg hanging.
He threw his leg out,
yeah. He has no idea where the attacking player is, where you just thought, what are you doing? So no, I don't think either will really any sort of contentious ones. I think the was the other one a handball?
Yes.
Yeah.
Jumping up in the air and then flailing your arms around when you're up there.
I'm going to say we've all had our opinions on Dykes the other week, but this
that was
one's
worse. This was worse. Yeah,
I'm going to say he's like had his hand.
Well, it was a second movement of his hand as well. Yeah. Actually, because the jump had already occurred. His hand had come up and gone down and then came back up again.
It's almost of I'm not going to reach it. And your hand's there and it's kind of what have I done? That sort of thing. So, there's no complaints on that. So,
leaving your trailing leg out, I was going to say that actually is something we used to do in school. When someone is running past you, you just swing your leg out behind you and just leave it there, and someone plonks onto the ground. So it was a silly one. Yeah,
I can understand him doing it if he's facing the guy, but like I said, he kind of turned his back and then left and I'm kind of like
left the leg out there. Yeah,
what are you doing?
It just looks bad. It just looks like you did it on purpose. Whereas at least if you're facing forward, you lunged and maybe got it wrong and it's an accident or whatever. Yeah. But the handball and that I think were fairly clear. Decent penalties taken. They were nice penalties. As for the other goals, a lot of speed, a lot of counter attacks kind of started them, and a lot of good corners and free kicks and set pieces basically as well. Which I've been noticing now because one was scored on us as well. Set pieces are extremely dangerous in the Championship. You should not be fucking about with yellow cards and fouls when you're near your own box. It's dangerous.
Yeah, it's something which, as a Birmingham fan, has blighted us for years in this division. That set pieces you basically have to be exceptional at defending them and pretty competent at being, attacking them. Because there'll be so many sides in this, or there'll be so many games you'll see in this league where it's very tight, 2 teams not necessarily wanting to go all out attack and quite content to sort of almost just sit there and wait for a mistake, which basically means corners, free kick, they are just so critical, and you have to be so switched on these days. Even at this level, the sort of the creativeness of some of the teams were there. And I think one of the biggest differences I found from League One to Championship is that the quality of delivery in this league is on point normally, whereas in League One, the amount of times you'd see a badly taken corner or badly taken free kick where it just comes to nothing. Whereas in this league, you can play pretty much anyone in this division and they will have 1 or 2 people who can deliver a great dead ball. So you have to be on your mettle. But there was a great free kick scored in this, wasn't there? The Derby lad, he scored
from the far side of the box at a really tight angle.
Yeah, I mean, at first I saw it and I went, he's crossed that. And then when I looked at it again, I thought, no, he's hit that too hard. Yeah, he's hit that too pacey to cross it. He's basically done that sort of the old trick, hasn't he? He's gone, I'm going to whip it to that back post. If somebody gets a nick on it, great. Otherwise, it might go straight in. But wonderful free kick. Wonderful free kick.
Yeah, that was nice.
Yeah, and Carlton Morris bagging another goal. That's 2 goals in 2 games for him, I believe. So important for Derby to get him up and running, scoring.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're absolutely trash at corners and free kicks, and defending them apparently at the moment. So we need to get some of that in order. But yeah, we'll wait and see what happens with that. Now, Kakache apparently is very good at corners, but he's out injured at the moment. So I'm kind of putting my hopes on him. He takes them from both sides. So let's see how good he is at that one.
But yeah, overall, I think it's a wonderful result for Coventry. And I would say, even though it's 2 games in, it's a win and a draw. And usually, to be fair to Coventry, for the last, I don't know how many seasons, they start seasons incredibly slowly. So this is an amazing start of the season for their record, shall we say. So, yeah, I think they're proving to everyone that they are going to be right up there this season.
Yeah, just one final thing there before we maybe move on is, considering there was 8 goals, how did you find both goalkeepers?
All right. I'll be honest. I thought the first goal for Coventry, I thought the one that I think Bobby Thomas scored. I thought the Derby goalkeeper, I don't quite know what he was doing there. He kind of came out to get it, but didn't really get anywhere, and the Coventry guy got there before him. But yeah, I thought they were okay, to be fair. Other than that, I didn't really notice anything.
Yeah, there wasn't too much that I absolutely put down to the keeper as a bad mistake. Now, of course, they're going to let something, go occasionally. But yeah, considering there was 8 goals in the match, they were decent goals and very fast. If anything, the defenses were messy at times. They just didn't get balls cleared, and that's really where it came from. So I was interested to see that other teams can have a really messy defense at the moment. It's early days. You have to kind of gel as well.
I think it's also interesting that Bobby Thomas, who I think scored for Coventry, who plays at the back for Coventry, is being linked to Sheffield United as well for a transfer. Not quite sure why he would go, or would Coventry? I mean, I think it would have to be a fair amount of money, because I think he's quite important to them. But yeah, I thought that was quite interesting after the game, where I saw that popping up on social media that they've been heavily linked to him. So.
Okay. So next up, do you want to pick another match?
I suppose the next surprising one for me would probably be, well, let's go Leicester. Let's do Leicester. And
okay, so this one I didn't see. Preston North End 2 at home, for 1 for Leicester. So 3 goals in this one. So tell us about this one. I didn't see it.
The first goal for Preston, which is scored by Alfie Devine, is one of the most funniest goals you're going to see from. I mean, funny you mentioned goalkeeping errors. You need to see the highlights of this one, because what the Leicester goalkeeper was doing, I don't know. He's come charging out to the corner of his 18-yard box to close somebody down with absolutely zero chance of ever getting there. And the guy's just kind of sidestepped him. And I still say, looking at the highlight, he's crossed it. But he's crossed it straight into the goal. So he milked it as a celebration, as if I meant it, sort of thing. But just the way he hit the ball, it looked like a cross to me. But he was lucky it went straight in. But what the Leicester goalkeeper was doing, I do not know. So that was a bit of a surprise. Leicester did get a goal back with the young kid, the 16-year-old lad. Is it Monga scored?
Let's check now. Yep, Manga 67th minute.
Yeah, I think he scoring that goal has made him the youngest player to score at this level. I think he's 16, and I can't remember who they said he beat record, but he's now the youngest goal scorer at this level. Lovely goal, I have to say, was a really lovely finish. But yeah, Preston won it with their big striker up front, just basically catching the Leicester defence sleeping, to be honest. And from the highlights that I did see, Leicester's defence wasn't that great. Preston had chances and were well deserved of this. It wasn't a smash and grab. It was they deserved to win the game, which I would say from a Leicester point of view is quite worrying. I know every away game is difficult, but you'd say Leicester being a parachute team, given the fact that I think everyone is under the impression they're going to get a points deduction, they can't really afford to lose too many of, shall we say, these type of games where they're against a lesser. If they're losing, if they're losing away at Ipswich, you can almost, that happens. But away at Preston or away at somebody like Sheffield Wednesday, those sort of games, they can't afford to lose them. So this was a big shock for me. But yeah, I don't think they can.
So stats in this one then. Preston had 40% to 60 for Leicester, 14 total shots each, 3 big chances for Preston and 1 for Leicester. So pretty solid for someone who is a weaker team, even though they're at home. Held their own. The momentum map is quite interesting, back and forth the whole way. So there was sections, of course, for Leicester because they had the higher percentage, but nothing that they didn't give up from time to time. So that was quite good and interesting for them. So yeah, let's see where Preston go with that one. Okay, next up. Norwich Portsmouth, anything on that, or we skip past them?
Fairly routine, or it seemed fairly routine. Sargent scored again. I think Colby Bishop missed a penalty, which will annoy Aaron because Aaron, I know, likes Colby Bishop. But I think a very solid job by Norwich. And Portsmouth away is a difficult place,
Yeah.
Portsmouth get most of their points at home, so to go down there and win on is by anyone is a cracking result, especially after Norwich got duffed up by Millwall in the first week. That's a response and a good one.
Yeah, lots of away wins, 6 away wins. I suppose it's half, but still, usually the home team has the advantage. So 6 away teams won, and then a couple of draws as well, of course. So that makes it bigger. I'm going to skip Wrexham and Birmingham. We'll do them at the end. Okay. So Bristol City and Charlton. Boring 0-0 draw. Or
Nathan Jones ball. Move on.
Okay. But I'll just give the little props. Good job to Charlton for taking a point off Bristol. So how high Bristol are going to make it this season, we don't know, but they've started well. They started well, took out Sheffield United. So.
I'm gonna say after they've took Sheffield United apart, let's be honest, 4-1 on the first, that is a cracking result for Charlton. But one that you could see coming a mile away. You just think, after you've beaten Sheffield United,
of course,
the next game against Charlton, which everyone would say, you're gonna, that's a game you'll definitely win after beating Sheffield. You just thought, that's set up perfectly for Nathan Jones. So,
Okay. So next one on my list here, we have Millwall versus Middlesbrough. Millwall at home losing 3-0. Middlesbrough took the away win again. Strong result for Middlesbrough.
Yeah, I would say this is arguably probably one of the results of the round, to be honest. I don't think anyone would have saw this one coming. I think even the most optimistic sort of Middlesbrough fan would have said maybe a point away at Millwall would be a cracking result. I would say the scoreline is a little bit flattering for Middlesbrough, because I think the 2 goals were in the last sort of 5-10 minutes, where I think it had been quite an even game until that point.
Yeah, so stats on this one, 45% possession from Millwall, 55 from Middlesbrough, total shots 11 and 12, big chances 2 and 2. So yeah, fairly even there. The goals came at 49 minutes, just into the second half, then 87 just before the 90 minute, and then 90 plus 7. So yeah, 2 of them came fairly late. But interesting back and forth on that one as well.
Yeah, I'm going to say Josh Colburn against his old club up front for Millwall. I think there was a header which basically hit the inside of one post, basically went across the goal line, hit the other post, and bounced out. And I listened to somebody explaining it online last night, where basically said when that happens, you write off the day because you just know that's you hit the inside of the post, it goes along the goal line, hits the other post, and goes out. You just know it's not your day. That's it. You write that off as a bad day. Let's go home, lads. So I felt a bit for him because, of course, against his old club, he would have been desperate to score, but yeah, terribly unlucky. But yeah, both sides looked good, I thought, on the highlights I saw. Well organised, and yeah, I think it was a bit of a surprise by all, really.
Okay, so next up we have Sheffield Wednesday versus Stoke. Now this one ended up with a Stoke win away 3-0 against Sheffield Wednesday, who were at home. Now, before I hit some stats there, first up, was there any protests that you heard of today?
Yes.
Did they happen?
Yes.
So what happened with that?
They were doing some whistle protests, so they were all blowing whistles. Unfortunately for them, it was scheduled for the first minute of the game. So, of course, Stoke went and scored in the first minute of the game. So
1 minute.
So they were blowing all the whistles. Stoke went up one side, scored, and the whole stadium just kind of went, ugh. And it just flattened it. It just flattened it. Yeah, just flattened it. And I mean, I commend obviously the protest and everything they're doing to get but I just thought, yeah, and by the sounds of things, it just killed the game for them. While Sheffield Wednesday did have some chances, you concede in the first minute, and the predicament they're in, it was just an uphill battle. But yeah, it was just it was a bit comedy because they're all blowing the whistles and Stoke just went ping, 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 goal, and it's just like, yeah, you could hear a pin drop in the stadium then. So yeah.
Okay, so stats here: Sheffield Wednesday had 54% of the possession. They had 15 total shots, 1 big chance. And then Stoke City had 12 total shots with 5 big chances. Manu scored in the first minute, as you said. Mubamba at the 46th, so almost immediately after half time, just to screw them over again.
Yeah.
And their positivity after coming out at half time. And then the third one was Manuf again at 69 minutes, which obviously sealed the deal at that stage.
Yeah.
So Stoke doing well, and Sheffield Wednesday 2 losses in a row in the league. They have looked okay in that cup match that they had. They did pretty well there.
Against League One though, wasn't it? Was it against League One opposition in the cup? I think it was Was it Bolton?
Well, maybe. But 2 matches in a trot. So is this the form we're expecting? Now, of course, they can beat anybody. It's still Championship, but like this is what people are expecting, isn't it?
Yeah, somewhat. I think that you've only got to look at their bench. I think that's the biggest problem. I mean, you look at their starting 11, and it's not a bad start. It's not terrible. It's not like the worst starting 11 you're going to ever have seen in the Championship. The problem is it's just the bench. I think they've got Ugbo, who is a striker they spent millions on, who basically hasn't scored since they signed him permanently. But the rest of the bench.
I'll call him out for you, see if anybody recognises him. We've Charlie McNeil, attacker, Ike Ugbo, attacker, Olaf Kabachki, midfield, Reece Johnson, defender, and Ernie Weaver, defender. So, no.
I mean, when you've got a guy on the bench called Ernie Weaver, he's probably a wonderful young player, but you just think, yeah, you're scraping the barrel, aren't you? Really? So,
okay. He came on at 90th minute, so that doesn't really matter. He had 6 touches. I'll give you 1 shot at his age. Have a guess.
17.
18.
Oh, it's close.
Close.
But yeah, I mean, Ugbo's the only one I noticed from their bench. And of course, there's a lot of rumours about Charles, the goalkeeper as well, might be, subject to a few bids, which I think if they get any half decent money,
yeah, he might be going as well.
he might be going as well. So, hey, look, if he's got a pair of boots, he might get a game for Sheffield Wednesday at the moment. But yeah, you got to feel for Sheffield Wednesday, but it is kind of what we expected, isn't it? Really, squad-wise, just isn't there, is it? That's the problem.
Yeah, it is. And who do they have next?
Some team in Wales, I think it is, isn't it?
Yeah, one of those Welsh teams.
You got them at home though. Home, isn't it? Is it home? Your place?
I think so. We'll have a double check later. But yes, we're up next for Sheffield Wednesday, and they haven't won yet, and neither have we. So someone is losing their 0.
Yes.
Anyway.
Somebody's O has to go.
That's the one. Right. So next up, then we have an interesting one. Just going straight down the list. Swansea City versus Sheffield United. 1-0 to the home team, Swansea. So let's pull up a couple of stats here. Possession 56% to Swansea, 44% to Sheffield United. Pereira scored the goal at 66 minutes. Total shots 13 for Swansea and 8 for Sheffield United. Big chances 1 each. So not great on decent chances considering the shots there.
No, I think I think hearing a lot and reading a lot of the Sheffield sort of fans online. Obviously, we played them in the cup, and other than probably goal of the season already from Gus Harmer against us, they were dreadful. Albeit they did make a lot of changes, but a lot of the Sheffield fans were saying this performance against Swansea was worse than the cup game, and I thought they were woeful against us. They were terrible. And on the highlights, the Swansea goal, you could drive a bus through the gaps in that defence. It's just, it looks like it's just not working. Now I don't know whether that's the players just not buying what the new manager is trying to get them to do, or do they have players that want out? I mean, you got Harmer and a few others that may attract attention elsewhere. For whatever it is, it just doesn't seem to be working. And as I think we've already alluded to, the natives are a bit restless there. And they've got 2 really tough fixtures coming up before the international break. And without wanting to sound, over dramatic here, if they get 2 more, if they lose the next 2 games, for example, he's under pressure as a parachute. As daft as that sounds, 4 games into the season, it's not necessarily the losses; it's the manner of the performances. I thought they were okay against Bristol, but just defended stupidly at times. And this game, they were just poor. This game, and even the big players like Gus Harmer is arguably one of the best players in this division. Yeah. By all accounts, paid like he couldn't be bothered. So it's not going great for old Ruben Sellers at Sheffield.
Yeah. So do you recall what they played formation wise against you in the cup?
Yeah, it was. I think it was like a wing back system. If I'm being honest, I think they played 3 at the back with a couple of wing backs. Yeah. So
okay, because FotMob have it here as a 4-3-3 versus Swansea City. And do you happen to know what they were playing last season? Has it been a massive change?
Well, under Wilder, they would have played a 3 at the back system because Wilder always played his wing backs, so he very rarely played a flat back 4.
Okay.
So, but yeah, I mean, formations are so fluid these days, aren't they?
Yes, of course, yeah.
I think one of the biggest problems with that Sheffield are having is under Wilder, they were so regimented and organised, a bit like Parky in a way that, you know, everyone has their job and it's kind of set in stone.
Yeah.
I think the way that Sellers is trying to go, he wants a more possession-based fluid system, so he's wanting people to move around. And I think half the problem is people are moving, and then the people who are meant to be dropping in and covering for the people, it just isn't happening. So hence why I think you got the goal against them this weekend, where the defence was just all over the place, and there was just a huge gap straight through the middle of it.
Yeah, that's the type of thing you need time to gel properly before you start doing that. So the question is, how exactly do you do that? Do you risk your early matches, which it appears is happening to them? They're taking the risk and it's not working. Or do you basically play a style that most of the players are used to from last season in the early matches, but in the training, you do a different training and build up to it before you switch? It's interesting because it can work for and against you in each style, you know.
Yeah, I mean the thing is, this is the worst division in the world to try and to try and we've fallen foul of it. I've lost count how many times we've tried to suddenly go, oh, we're going to play football. We've got a bunch of cloggers who play hoofball, can't do it. They do scream a side which are what I would call a typically Chris Wilder side. The players all scream, they know what they're doing, and that's they're suddenly being asked to like play possession-based football. Some of them it does suit, like, you know, Gus Harmer and a few of the other players they've got, and Campbell up front. They're wonderful technical players, so they'll be able to do it. But you need the whole team to buy into it and do it. I'm not sure this works, is the honest answer. And I'm not sure Ruben Sellers is good enough to make it work either. I think if they had shall we say, a more trusted or somebody with experience that has done this before, gone into a club, completely changed the philosophy and built it and done it, I would say, you could get on board with it. But I'm not sure he's the guy. And of course, I think the thing that a lot of Sheffield fans are probably worrying is they had a similar thing a few years back in the Championship with Jukanovic, who came in and tried to change them, and it just completely flatlined. And I think he got like 14 games of the season, and they just binned him in the end because it was just not working and it was terrible. I can see a similar thing, but it's their last season of parachute money, I think. Is it? I think for Sheffield.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
So the problem is the pressure.
They don't do anything this season, they're in trouble next year.
Yeah. So all of a sudden, the owners are really going to be looking at if it's not working after 10 games, it's kind of, you fear for the guy's job. Let's be honest, because if that carries on 12, 15 games, you're going to find it tough to make that up. So,
yeah, and it's certainly not a simple thing to switch from between a 3 to a 4 in defense. Like, it's not just, okay, guys, you're good enough, we're going to swap you around a little bit and play in that way. There's not many managers or teams that tend to use both formations at the same time at different matches. Like, I know you can switch formation a bit, but generally, am I right in saying that the 3 or 4 at the back tends to be the same, and you get a block of this or a block of that, depending on which style you're going for?
Yeah, I would say, especially in a defensive shape, shall we say?
Yeah.
So your defensive shape. If you're playing 3 at the back, when you're sort of not on the ball, you'll clearly see the 3 the 3 defenders, and then you'll have your wing backs. I mean, we play a back 4, but when we have possession, it kind of turns into a back 3. But that's because one of our fullbacks one leaves
up.
But on the ball, we're a back 4. So I would say, obviously, if you're a back 3 or a back 4, you'll see that very regimented when in defence, shall we say?
Yeah.
I like you. I just think it's probably too much of a change to make, and not necessarily change personnel. It's still predominantly the Chris Wilder squad.
Yes.
So I know people say, "Oh, footballers are footballers," but it's horses for courses, isn't it?
Yeah, that's something I'm going to do now, because I was waiting to see how many they were bringing in, and there wasn't many. So I'm going to double check their transfers for a second here. Okay, so last one in was Jibril Sumar on loan from Braga. Mikhail Polendakov from Septemvri Sofia. Okay. Louis Barry on loan from Aston Villa. Tyler Binden on loan. And then Ukaki came in. And that's it this summer. So far, 5 players, 3 of them on loan. One I don't know, and the other one is for less than $1 million from Sofia. This is what I was worried about. As soon as the owners said that they were going to use stats and computers and AI to find the jewels and to find the best players cheap, this is what I was worrying about. Are they going to spend any money? Now, again, they have a team that's good enough. You don't necessarily have to spend money, but I was curious to see who they're bringing in, and maybe they'll spend still. It's still open. But yeah, they're not stepping up at the moment.
No, of course, it's all very, like you said, they don't need to spend. And, if you're going to add, shall we say, a few gems around the edges, then that's fine. But I mean, they've sold a few big players, though. They've sold the Alman Hodzic, who is their best centre-back, for big money. He's gone to Feyenoord, I think it is. Essentially, they haven't replaced him. And he was the rock in their defence for the last couple of seasons. So I think they've got work to do in the market. And I think they're going to need to spend some money to, shall we say, smooth a few feathers over with the fan base, because I think the fan base are saying the same things we are, that, we've signed some players, but none of them actually are what you would classify as top-end championship players. I mean, even Louis Barry is, we all know what he's done in League One, but he's done nothing in the championship.
Yes.
So, it's not exactly shall we say, a signing that's bright lights and goes, we're here to challenge. So lots of work there.
So out for them, you have Harry Boyes, free transfer, apparently worth 300k. Miguel Freckleton to St Mirren, unknown price for that, but valued at 150k. Rian Brewster, free transfer to Derby. So that was somewhat decent, at least. A known player. You mentioned Anil Ahmedodzik, 18 million. That's their big one. They transferred out. They sold Kiefer Moore to us for roughly 2.4 million. One of their goalkeepers went on loan. So he's probably a young goalkeeper. And then Caceres, unknown market value of roughly $1 million-ish, went to Dunfermline. So a few players out there as well, and not really replaced. So very interesting. Is definitely, this is what I expected. I expected interesting moves from new owners who have big ideas that are either going to work with a bit of time or could fall flat on their face.
Yeah, just to add one final point with Sheffield, their next 2 games is they've got Millwall at home and Borough away before the international break. So
yes,
you could see a very likely scenario that they could go into that international break played 4, lost 4.
Yes, yeah. I'm guessing you don't know who their next match is after the international break.
I didn't look, no.
Okay, I have it in front of me. It's Ipswich away.
Oh, nice easy one. That one.
Yeah. So after the break, on September 12th, they have Ipswich away.
After Ipswich spent all their money. Lovely.
Yeah. Everything will be closed. They'll have had time to train and play about. So that'll be an interesting one. Then it gets a bit easier for them. They have Charlton, Oxford United, and then Southampton. So that's a run of fixtures that could get you sacked. It is. Maybe not yet, but it'll definitely put you on the borderline with this scenario.
Yeah,
if they don't do well. So just before we finish on that one, then Swansea City, a lot of our fans have interest in them. I've just spotted Chris Phillips Thank you very much, Chris, there for the super chat. Great job, gentlemen. Very good show. Thank you, Chris. I am glad you like it, and we enjoy doing it. So we'll keep them coming for you.
Been a while since I've been called a gentleman, so thanks, Chris.
Yeah, I know. We call you all sorts of shit in the Discord.
I deserve most, to be fair.
And I don't think I've ever heard you called a gentleman in Discord, certainly.
No.
Occasionally you get something nice, but I've never heard a gentleman. Okay, so what I was going to ask there is, before we move on, Swansea City. A lot of our fans, Wrexham fans, are interested in just following along with Swansea City, because that's one of our little stretch goals with surviving this season, is to beat Swansea, wherever they are on the table. How do you think they played in general so far?
They played all right.
This match.
Yeah, I think they've done all right. I think they were obviously very unlucky to lose against Middlesbrough on opening day, if I'm being honest. Don't think they deserve to win either. I think they were justified with winning this game against Sheffield, but then I would say that's more to do with how poor Sheffield were, possibly, than how good Swansea were. Swansea are a funny team because I think they've got players there that can hurt anyone. The question is can they be consistent? But the thing is with Swansea, they've always got some decent attackers. I think Swansea are one of those teams that will always, for me, will always tend to score goals. They will always look like they may concede a goal or two as well. Yeah. I think they're doing all right. It's still early days though. I can't remember where I think I had them mid-table-ish somewhere around there, they are kind of performing or what I've seen of them where I would expect them to be.
Yeah, mid-table, upper table would probably be normal for them.
Yeah.
Anything below mid-table, you might say, was a poor season in general.
Yeah.
So Dan Moore decided to throw out a donation to you. Back to the grindstone for John. Back to work.
Yeah.
Off on holiday.
Yeah, back to work.
Finishing up the holiday.
Yeah, back to work, back in the office tomorrow to about 600 emails probably. And about 50 million post-it notes on the desk.
Yeah, and Luke throws it up there. Yeah, we need to beat Snoop Dogg's team. Can't have any other famous people stealing our thunder, huh? All you famous people go away.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to say, I don't know when you play Swansea first, but Sky are definitely moving that for TV, and they're definitely going to milk the whole Snoop Dogg and Deadpool thing, aren't they?
I'm sure.
It's going to be all over it.
Yeah. Okay, so will we move on to the next match?
Go for it.
Yes. So, really interesting, this one, I suppose. Watford 2, QPR 1.
I have to say I was a bit surprised by this. I thought this would possibly be a QPR win or draw. I didn't see Watford winning this, to be honest, because I haven't been impressed with Watford. I think they scored 2 goals in 4 minutes. I think it is. Sucker punched QPR a little bit.
Same player. Kieran 19th minute and 23rd minute. And then they got Lutz sent off at 90+3.
That's a straight red as well. So I don't know whether it was for apparently a wild tackle. So whether it's going to go down as an endangering an opponent one and possibly a 3-game ban or 1-game ban, I don't know. But he'll be a big miss for them because he is a quality player, and I think there is a lot of rumours that he may actually leave before the close of the window anyway, because he is a really good midfielder. He's a top quality operator. But yeah, I think, and the other one was Kone started on the bench for QPR in this game as well. I think he came on, late in the second half, 70 or 75th minute or something. So, but yeah, fantastic win for Watford, I have to say.
Kone came on at the 70th minute, yeah. Okay, so the QPR got their goal just before the death of the first half, 45 minutes +4. So that was it. They didn't really do much more, I guess. Possession was near even, 46% for Watford, 54 for QPR, 17 total shots for Watford, 13 for QPR, 3 big chances for Watford, none for QPR.
Which is a bit of a surprise, because when you look at QPR's attacking line, or shall we say the front three, they've got some pretty good players there. So you would expect them to create something during that game. Probably one that QPR didn't see coming is that result, I think.
Yeah, so they played with a 4-2-3-1 with a 3-1 up front. They had Smith, Chair, Dembele, and then Burrell up the front. So yeah, that's a fairly solid lineup up front there.
And Pocker, of course, is injured for a potential 3-month period, I think they said. So
okay.
he's apparently had a reoccurrence of his hamstring injury, which is the one that he had last season for Peterborough, which he had surgery on to correct. So as they always say with hamstring injuries, they tend to reoccur, don't they? Sometimes players. So sadly for him, is this going to blight his career? You hope not for the lad, but
yeah, you would hope not. But he may find himself sliding back down the leagues.
yeah, possibly.
Yeah, if he can't stay fit and healthy, especially because he still needs to prove himself.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, moving on then, we're nearly there. 2 more. We have Ipswich Town draw with Southampton 1-1. So 2 big teams there facing off against each other, splitting the points. Let's have a quick look. So 4 minutes Ipswich Town scored with an own goal. So was that a cross in that just defender got a touch on?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it was. Because this was the early kickoff game on today, so I did watch it. Ipswich pressed the hell out of Southampton straight from the off, and the one defender gave the ball away, and then I think it was Hurst crossed it in, just caused panic, and I think the ball got a deflection and then bounced up and just hit Taylor Bellis in the chest, and he couldn't do anything about it, and it just went in. But yeah, they came out of the blocks flying, Ipswich did, and I think probably caught Southampton a little cold in that. It almost felt like they didn't expect them to do that. It was sort of fast and furious to begin with, and then Southampton did grow into the game. So
so Southampton got their goal from Robinson at 29 minutes. So it appears like a lot of the action happened in the first half. We had a 50% possession stats, 14 total shots for Ipswich, 11 for Southampton, 2 big chances for Ipswich, 1 for Southampton. But if you have a look at the momentum graph, a large portion of the momentum for Southampton was in the first half, with constant spikes of Ipswich basically counter-attacking. But when you switch to the second half, then Ipswich kept a lot of the ball. So maybe they started playing a little bit more defensively on that, and kept possession and control a lot more. So interesting.
Yeah, it was a good game actually. It was one of those where you watched it and you thought, yeah, this is 2 really good sides at this level. All right, there was not loads of goal mouth action or that, but the way that they kept the ball and they moved the ball and they were probing each other, you just thought, yeah, there's 2 quality operators here. Southampton, I thought in the first half particularly impressed me. They I wouldn't say they went for Ipswich, but they looked the better side, the better footballing side in that first half. And then second half, Ipswich, once they came out into that second half, McKenna, I don't think he changed anything, but they just came. It's almost like he'd almost told them to play 5 yards further forward up the pitch, and they just seemed to control the game at an arm's length, shall we say. The interesting one is Dibbling for Southampton came on as a sub in the sort of last 10 minutes, where of course he'd been training on his own and everything, and Everton had bid for him and everything, so it looked like he was on his way out. And then I think they said this previous week he'd been reintroduced into training, and he came on. Looked very rusty, looked like a player that hadn't really had much training, dare I say. It didn't really affect the game in any way.
So Steve Barton's in the house, $10. Thank you very much, Steve, to go towards John Merrill's Wrexham jersey. He hasn't decided which color yet, but lots of people are recommending the blue Patagonia shirt.
They would, wouldn't it? Because it's just Argentina's shirt, yeah.
But it's a nice shirt.
I prefer
blue.
I prefer the Birmingham's red third strip that we've got. So
yeah, see, now you're just copying our first shirt.
Well, we've always had. I did explain to. I think I explained to Esteban actually, because he was very surprised to see red, and I was like, "No, to be fair, because we play in blue mainly. You've got to have another sort of almost polar opposite color. So we do usually have like a red or a black or a yellow away shirt. To be fair, so
yeah." Okay, so we got a little sidetrack there. Anything else you want to mention about that one, or
no,
just straightforward? Two good teams against each other.
Two good teams,
but
to a draw. Yeah, I think the thing that came out of that game was you could see by the end of it, or just by looking at the teams, you think, yeah, by the end of the transfer window, you suspect they will probably look quite different, because I think both teams will potentially lose one or two more, but probably add quite a few as well. So, yeah, dare I say they're going to be stronger teams by the end of the window.
Yeah. Okay, so last match up then, we have Hull City 3 at home. They won the match versus Oxford United, who scored 2. So, stats on this one. Again, another early goal. Gellert at 2 minutes for Hull, Crooks at 20 minutes, and then a final one from McBurney, 90+3 at the very end. So that was a draw right till the death. Oxford United had Lancashire at 9 minutes, Brannigan at 26 minutes. So they came back twice. Hull City in the lead twice and then took it in extra time. That could have been an interesting match. Now, stats here are very interesting. 75% for Hull with possession.
Doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, and Oxford 25. Total shots, 19 for Hull, 11 for Oxford. So they managed to take their chances. Big chances 3 and big chances 1. They came out with 2 goals. So this is what happens in the championship. Players on their day will take their shots. And if you haven't taken yours, you're going to lose. But not today.
Yeah, it's Gary Rowett football, isn't it? 20-30% possession and, almost equaling the shots and stuff. I think the thing that stood out for me in this game is Hull's big players all scored. So Gelhardt, Crooks, McBurney. I would say they're sort of their big 3 players. I must admit, I was unsure about the McBurney signing when they got him, but having watched him against you guys in the cup and seen the highlights of today's game, he's a player at this level. He kind of always has been. Yeah. I did kind of wonder whether it was just maybe a move too many at this level for him, but I get the feeling he's going to be a big player for Hull this season, and I think I had Hull to finish second bottom. I'm not so sure anymore. I'm not so sure anymore, to be honest. Especially looking at their side, and the thing is, today was a massive result for me because I hate saying 6-pointer because it's like 2 games into the season, but it's a team I think it's a team everyone expected Hull and Oxford to be fighting it out down the bottom.
Yeah, so to be somewhere close.
Yeah, to get 3 points over a team you're going to be in direct competition is massive. Massive result for Hull this. So, and I think Rowett got a little bit of stick online. I noticed from Oxford fans where basically they sort of said he set up to draw the game at half time and wanted to basically just grab a point, and essentially that's what cost them, which does tend to happen at this level. If you do sit back, teams do tend to take advantage of that late on. So, bad result for Oxford, I would say, that one, especially to lose it in the dying minutes.
Yeah. Nice fight back from them, though. Not to sit back and fall apart. And they came back pretty quickly. So it took them 7 minutes for the first goal, and then 6 minutes to come back after the second goal, and then played right down till the end, but lost it. I wonder if their bench is a little light.
Yeah.
And that maybe cost them at the very end.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing with the Rowett side. It will be well organised, tough to beat. It will fight to the bitter end, no matter what the result is at that given moment. I just think they're probably short of quality. That's probably their biggest problem. They have got they have got some good players in that starting 11, but I just think squad-wise they are sadly quite short. I had anticipated they would do more business by this point, and I think even listening to Rowitz in his interviews in the last week or two, I think he also expected to do more business than they have done. So long season for them ahead, I fear.
Yeah. Okay, so that is the championship done, excluding our two teams. So let's give a quick rundown and then discussion on Birmingham. Okay, so Birmingham City won 2-1 away at Blackburn Rovers. I watched the highlights of this. Very interesting. Cantwell scored at 50 minutes, and it took Birmingham a long time to come back. A Stansfield penalty at 90 minutes, and then a Dykes finish at 90 plus 8 right at the end. Possession 40% for Blackburn Rovers. Total shots 5. 8 total shots for Birmingham and 3 big chances for Birmingham. And as stated, they took it 2-1. So yeah, how to go with that?
It was a pretty dull game. I'm not going to lie. We didn't deserve to win. I think the stats probably show we did, but the eye test for me would say that a draw would have been a fair result. I thought it was a wonderful finish by Cantwell. I thought Blackburn got their game plan against us actually spot on. They made it an incredibly physical, bitty, horrible game of football. So they didn't give any of our ball-playing players any time. So it was basically as soon as we had a player on the ball, if he'd sort of sidestep a man, they just basically fouled him. They pushed him over, fouled him, kicked him, just stopped the play. Their entire game plan was based on set pieces and long throws. They had no quality in a sort of a creative sense. It was all very physical and long ball, which I kind of expected from a Ishmael Blackburn side. But they did it really well. They caused us a lot of problems. So I wouldn't say they deserved the goal, but it's a wonderful finish from Cantwell. I think if the game had finished 0-0, I don't think either side would have been able to complain, if you get me. But I think the big one for us was at half time. We lost Alex Cochrane, who's our left back, to injury, which is a worry because he's our only fit left back, or was our only fit left back. So we don't have a left back now. But he had to bring on Ethan Laird at half time to play left back, and it was inspired because Laird. I think you've probably seen Laird for us last season. He's just a bundle of energy, and he's a really good player. And him in conjunction with Keshi Anderson out on the wide left caused Blackburn straight from the second half, caused them problems. They just couldn't deal with his pace and his physicality and his energy. And of course, it was him who won the penalty in the 90th minute, where it was just his sheer desire and pace to get round and cut inside two of them. And I know some Blackburn fans say it was soft, but it's like, well, he's gone in between two players. And one of the guys has left a leg out dangling, and contacts there, and he's fallen out. It's a penalty. And of course, Pensfield steps up and does what Pensfield does and puts it in the back of the net. And the winning goal was just crazy because I'll be brutally honest, we were pushing and we were the team that were going to score until we got the equaliser. And then from that moment, from the equaliser, when the ball went up for 11 minutes of injury time because there was a bad injury to a Blackburn player earlier in the second half, it was all Blackburn. And it wasn't any good play. They just they won a throw in down our end and then just kept the ball down there. And it was corner after corner, throw in after throw. It was just constant bombardment of our goal. And we were hanging on for dear life at that point because it was just they were throwing everything in there. And then we just caught them. They took a corner, really poor corner, hit the first man, which was Damari Gray. He sort of headed it out. And for the life of me, I don't understand how in the 97th minute Blackburn had committed pretty much everyone into the box, that they got caught so cold that we had 6 players rushing forward and they had like 2 defenders trying to run back and cover. It was just ridiculous. And the thing that was mad was Damari Gray, who headed the ball out, was the guy then furthest attacking above every Blackburn player. And he was exceptional. And in the right moment, he had the pace and the quality and the calmness in that sort of chaos moment to pick out a great cross, and I'm not Lyndon Dykes' biggest fan, but he got in front of his man with a good little movement and stuck the ball in the back of the net, and limbs then proceeded. So, but no, like I said, undeserved, but as I think as everyone sort of says, you win games and you don't play well, it's a mark of a good side. So, but yeah, I think we had a lot of things to learn from that. From that game of when a team do what Blackburn do, we need to figure a way of countering it and playing through it, because we didn't do it very well against them on the weekend.
Okay. Guys, any questions in the chat about Birmingham to continue this conversation on? Or yeah, to me, you guys do look like a very strong team. I'm kind of glad for you. You're again likely to be up the top, and you take your points where you can get them, because you're gonna lose points that you probably didn't deserve as well. So no, good finish. We like scoring our goals in the extra time, and we celebrate them when we do. So I've no problem with anybody else celebrating. Maybe a lucky finish, maybe not. Maybe a crappy defense in the last minute. These things happen. And look, if you don't play till the final whistle and you let a goal in, tough shit. Is the way I kind of view that one.
Yeah, I mean, you could tell Blackburn, because of course they lost the first game against West Brom, and many would say they were a little bit unlucky to lose that game. So it's their first home game of the season, so they put a lot into that game. They were really up for that game, so it was always going to be a tough game. So to win it in that manner makes it sweeter. But no, I'm going to say, I won't say I was impressed with Blackburn, but equally, I don't think they looked a terrible side. They look very organised, and they will be tough to beat. They won't be pretty on the eye, but they'll, if you beat them, you're going to have to work really hard to do it.
Yeah. Okay. Luke is saying that you are jammy Dodgers. That's fine. Everybody is a jammy Dodger at some point. And he thinks he'll lose against West Brom.
He clearly hasn't seen the recent form against West Brom, because even when we were crap, we still beat West Brom.
Okay, so we played West Brom and we didn't beat them this weekend. So the score ended up 3 for West Brom, 2 for us when we were playing in our opening home match. O'Brien scored first. Price scored first for West Brom early at 20 minutes. O'Brien leveled it then just before the half at 42 minutes. Second half, then we had some later goals. 74 minutes for Wallace, again Price at 81, but that was just a finisher over the top. We had an injury to Windus at 30 minutes, which didn't help our new setup and new system. He really could be key to how well we're going to do this season. Without any statements from the club yet, you have to expect at least 2 to 3 weeks on that potential hamstring tweak. Hopefully it is only a tweak.
Yeah.
And then Smith at the end got us a little consolation. Good for him to get off the score line, because he may play a smaller role this season with the new strikers we brought in. So great for him to have a goal on that one. So one of the big things for us was Ward letting in the goal to his near post. Now, yeah, I will give him a little bit of shit for that. I hate seeing keepers beaten on that near side. However, if he had that covered correctly, I still think he would have been beaten on his other side. So it was a bad situation to get in. Our defense allowed them to completely run through, not totally one-on-one, but pretty much, and a free shot on goal. So what can you do on that one? We'll have to wait and see with Ward. There's a big talking point between Ward and AO at the moment. What do we do with that? A lot of people saying AO deserved the chance at the start of the season, considering how well he has done for us in the last 2 seasons. He did do exceptionally well with all his clean sheets last year as well. So I can understand that logic. But when you bring in a player, if it's not a goalie, generally speaking, they're replacing somebody. That's the expectation, is you bring in new people to be better than what you have. So I was always curious, is Ward coming in to take over or not? And for me, the big thing has to be the training during the summer as well. That if it was a clear difference of skill set between what he can offer and what AO can offer, and a lot of that people are saying is distribution, especially, then he gets the start, and that seems to be where he is at the moment. Will Parky give him shit for that goal coming in? Maybe a little bit. But with our defense being so open at the moment, I don't think he's going to put a lot of this on Ward's shoulders, because we need to get our defense together. We need to get some players back, and we need to figure out exactly where our start is. So first, what do you think about Okonkwo before we hit the defense?
Yeah, because I sort of had the game on. I was doing other things around the house, and I had Josh's stream on and his watch along, and I felt the need to type, but I got distracted. But I felt the need. I wanted to come out and actually protect, or not protect, but defend Ward, because it's like, I think I put in the chat, a keeper should never be beaten at his near post in that predicament, which he shouldn't. But also, it's like, it's a mistake, and the amount of people in the chat were saying, "Well, AO's got to start. He's got to go," and it's just like, he's made a mistake. Players make mistakes, and unfortunately with goalkeepers, when goalkeeper makes a mistake, it costs a goal. That's just the nature of the beast. You can't throw a guy out of the side just because he made one mistake. If he gets beaten at his near post 5 times in the next 10 games, then it's a pattern, and then you say, okay, there's an issue there, and then yeah, you've got justification to maybe make a change in goal. But I don't think he's done anything wrong other than that. He hasn't been at fault for any goal apart from that one, arguably. So I find it, managers, and not just Parky, but all football managers, you're never so reaction that you change, especially a goalkeeper, just after a mistake. A goalkeeper is the one thing that every manager says, you change a goalkeeper, it's a massive change to the defensive setup of your side. So you don't do it just off a whim. So no, I can understand the people saying Okonkwo deserved a chance and all that, but let's be honest here. Ward came in, he's had pre-seasons and he's had training, so equally, yes, Okonkwo has deserved chance, but Ward has come in and clearly deserved the chance as well. So yeah,
and I will say though, from history with Parky, Ward very soon will be aware that multiple mistakes when things settle down, and he'll be pulled. AO will get another shot. He pulled AO for a couple of matches last season when he wasn't doing well. So he will do it. He certainly will. Doesn't matter who you are. He's proven it with goalkeepers. So that'll be an interesting one for the future. A lot of people gave him real shit, Ward, before he came in, when we signed him, saying like he just doesn't have it. He's not good. I'm always careful with stuff like that before seeing it myself, because when the expectation is he's not good, and you're talking to people looking at Premier League players, they have a completely different mindset of what's good and what's not good.
Yeah, they're not good. He's still like, Championship, very, very good. So.
Yes. So we'll see how that one plays out. But I am at least comfortable that our number 2 is extremely solid in AO in general. So we'll see what happens in the rest of the season. And look, if AO doesn't get a sniff this season, I don't think he'll be too happy about it. And he may have to go back to League One again to prove himself and move on if he's not happy sitting number 2. That's very possible.
Like I said, it's one mistake. If Ward makes 5 mistakes in the next 10 games and costs you goals, then
he'll be swapped. Yeah,
he'll be dropped, and rightly so. Yeah. But I don't calling for him to be ousted out the team just after one mistake. Nah, I mean, the thing is, yes, no goalkeeper should be beaten on their near post like that. Ward would be the first person to know this than anyone else, that he shouldn't be beaten on his near post.
Yeah. So AO didn't cover himself in glory in the cup game or during pre-season. There was some scenarios there where he kicked the ball straight out under a little bit of pressure and just bad kicks as well. That seems to be a little bit of a hiccup with AO, that he has put the ball out numerous times, which shouldn't really be happening at this sort of level. You know, that's something that should be out of your game by that point. But if it happens and AO gets his shot, he'll get it for the rest of the season if he plays well. So he'll just have to wait for it. Okay, so then defense. So our defense just isn't on it at the moment. We're still trying to bed in. And an interesting comment was made. I'm not sure if it was in another stream or if it was in Discord. But someone stated that, and I agree with it, that they said Cody isn't babysitting Max and Brunt, that he's doing his own job and he's expecting them to do their job. So that's fair enough from where he's coming from. You know, he's in a team with championship level players that know what they're doing, that are seasoned, and that are at a top team of the division. So maybe he'll figure out he has to look after them a little bit more, and maybe he will help improve the situation that way. Or simply they're going to have to step up and be told, I'm not doing a job for you. I've got my own job to do. Now you better get on with it and improve. Yeah. You know, and we'll have to figure that one out, because I don't think we have a lot of cover at the moment. That's what we're still waiting for, is maybe another signing to come in there. We don't have a lot of cover for them. They're not amazing options. So
yeah, I think the problem with Cody is I think it's his mobility, in a way that I think if a couple of years ago, I think he would mop up behind the likes of Max and that to give him a helping hand. I think the problem is if he's going to commit to sort of not protecting but sort of helping them out, he's going to be leaving his side more exposed, and he probably feels in himself he hasn't got the mobility to quickly get across back to his position if he needs to. Yeah, I mean, I watched the game and I thought, yeah, the defence is clearly the area. I mean, I know a lot of people complained about McLean on the first goal, and I think I said in Josh's stream, McLean, yeah, you try and stop the cross, but you can't leave an attacker and you're sort of 7-8 yards out free. Somebody has to go with him. You just, you can't just sort of or leave it to somebody else. That's just basics.
Yes, it is. Yeah,
and I think Parky said it in his interview that I saw on the highlight show, that he basically sort of said in between the boxes we were good, but just in both penalty areas is what cost us, which ultimately, yeah, that's exactly it.
Yeah, agreed. The one thing I will say though as well there about Cody and whether he can cover or not cover or whatever, if you're new in a position, most cases you're going to focus on your own job first.
Yes. Yeah.
You need to look after yourself, because you're the new boy and you need to do your job first before you start helping others. So maybe a little bit down the road, he would be willing to put his own position at risk in order to try and save someone else, knowing that it's not going to cost him his position. He's not going to get yanked. He's not going to get eaten alive for being out of position, saving someone or protecting someone, if he believes it's needed. And then unfortunately it gets passed off and then it comes through his area, and that's just something he'll need to learn a little bit and get comfortable with. You don't walk out on that ledge on your day one.
No, and the other thing is he also is learning on the job as well. So he's learning what those guys to the left and to the right of him are actually capable of doing, So it will take time. So
and also not just what they're capable of doing, but what they're going to do.
Yeah.
Because if they will go out of position and push too far forward, and maybe this is a thing for Max in particular, is he has a lot of flexibility to get up the pitch, which often in some cases can mean he's out of position and has a long way to track back, which may put him slightly out of position at different points in the defence. So just understanding what he's going to do might allow Cody to just move over a little bit in positioning to be in a better spot, knowing he's gone or whatever. So that just comes with time, and that's an issue at the start of the season for every team, learning new teammates, how they work. You can often see it with strikers as well and midfield, where they're passing into dead space almost because they saw a player beside them, they pass the ball up and they look and the player's gone. He stopped running. You're like, that was a perfect position for you to be and you're not there. Why are you not there? Well, I don't know. Well, maybe he has a reason for it. Maybe he's been told he's not allowed past the bloody halfway line. You can't shoot. Don't fucking go up there.
Yeah, it's just it's just being used to who you're playing. I mean, it's like for us with Paik and Iwata, those two just know where each other are on the pitch, so they will play blind passes to each other because they just know instinctively where they are.
You barely have to look because you saw them there 3 seconds ago. You know they're going to be over there.
Exactly. And against Ipswich in our first game, we had Damari Gray. Damari Gray is a Premier League footballer. I mean, he's won the damn thing, for Christ's sake. But he was like passing balls and it was like behind people or in front of people, because he hasn't got that, that time with the players. He doesn't know the runs. He doesn't know the quirks that people do. He doesn't know where people positions where they like to receive the ball. So it all comes with time. And when you change so many things and, let's not get carried away now. With you guys, you've changed your goalkeeper and you've changed your main centre-back out of your back three. That's a big change defensively, setup-wise. It's going to take time for that to settle and then to get used to each other.
Yeah, it is. And Brunt and Clewett need their own time to settle in Championship.
Yes.
Because everybody says, when you move up a league, it gets faster. Yeah, okay. I didn't see that coming up into League Two, into League One, as much as people had told me. It's like, they're going to get faster. They're going to get faster. And I know our team has been a little bit slower than the average in general. We don't mind, older, experienced heads and counter breaks. You can always get to sprint on every so often rather than constantly playing high tempo. So that's fine. I see it immediately now in Championship, watching other matches and looking at, especially at the teams that you expect to be in the upper half. Now, I know a lot of people say 2 divisions, and that is pretty true. But definitely these upper teams are quick, really quick. And defenders have to get used to this. They have to get used to the speed coming at them, where to position and when to move. You're the one going backwards. You have to know when to spin, when to turn, how to block them. And if you do that even a half second too late,
you're done.
They're gone. They're done. Yeah. They're a half pace ahead of you, and that's it. Doesn't matter. You're done.
Yeah. The one, there's 2 things in this league compared to League One, which for me was so noticeable from last season. From the previous season in the Championship, is like you said, the pace, the movement, everything's quicker, but it's concentration levels. In League One, you could get away with being a little bit switched off now and then. Teams didn't hurt you as much. At this level, especially defenders, if you are not concentrating and you are switched off for that split second, you'll get punished. If you're just half asleep, ball watching, lost your man for that split second and he's run off the back of you, at this level it cost you a goal. At League One level it probably didn't. And
then the third goal that came in against us, that was after we made a change. So Parky went into attack mode. Who came off? Where is it? James. James went off at 80. Yeah. James came off. And then who did we have come on? Sam Smith came on. And we kept our attackers. So that was an interesting one. Obviously, we got caught on a counter. Almost straight after, not too long into it, once we went attacking. You have to chase the game somehow. So I suppose not the end of the world. And then Sam Smith got our goal at the end as a little consolation.
Good goal by him.
Yeah, nice goal, nice finish. I like it. So Kiefer Moore has been doing well since he came in for us. He got over his potential injury where his boot flipped in a horrible, unnatural position when you freeze frame it and catch it as the worst position.
It looked a really bad one, didn't it? That was that was the concern.
Yeah. But now today we have another injury because Windass went off at 30 minutes with his hamstring. So as I said earlier, 2 to 3 weeks is the immediate assumption there. Didn't look terribly bad. Looked like maybe just a basic tweak that they got him off pretty much straight away. He knew he was done. But it just didn't look bad. It was more shit, I think.
Yeah. I'm going to say, you just hope he hasn't given it a tear or something. But the thing is with Windass, he's an experienced guy. So if he knows not to
run on it, not to keep going.
Yeah.
Even another 3 minutes of trying to get around. Yeah.
But I have to say I've been impressed with Moore. I thought he was exceptional in the game against Southampton.
Yes.
I thought, in all fairness, I had, as much as I, don't want to give the Tesco bag some credit, I thought their defence learned how to deal with Moore quite well in that game on the weekend. I thought he caused quite a few problems early on, but I thought, balls into him, they defended it really well against him as the game went on. And so he was less effective then. So sadly, credit to them in that regard. But I think he's if he can continue to play like he did against Southampton, then you've got a wonderful player. I think I said to Josh, the only thing is I don't think Southampton were used to playing against a striker like Moore, whereas 90% of the Championship will be used to playing against a Kiefer Moore. Well, actually, they'll be used to playing against Kiefer Moore, to be honest. So, I have to say, he's surprised me. He's played really well since he's come in.
Yeah. So Kikache wasn't playing this match. Apparently, he was kept off on a precaution, just some extra time from a tweak that he had. So hopefully he's back next week. He's one that I really hope steps up because we need a fast attacking wing back to take over that left side. And then we have Tomlinson as well. He has not played for us since he came in. He is injured as well, which isn't great. So we are not yet at our starting 11. So I expect us to get better. And there have been good signs so far with the team. Obviously, no results came in yet, but the signs of the team are there. We know what Parky is trying to do with the team. We know how he likes to play. And if we can get everybody fit together, we'll have a fairly decent, strong team. And hopefully those matches will come. So one question that came up earlier I saved for us to answer, and it was from Luke. Paddy and John, which 1 or 2 players do we absolutely have to have in our starting 11 for the next match, which is Sheffield Wednesday? So who do you think we need to beat Sheffield Wednesday?
Is this somebody that's not necessarily in your side or just...
No, from our team. Team.
I think I've said it in the Discord. For me, your most important and best player is Lewis O'Brien. He has to play every single minute as long as he's fit and able to. He is by far the, shall we say, the most quality player you have in your squad, I feel. And I think midfield is so important at this level. To have somebody like him, he is a top-end Championship midfielder. It's worth his weight in gold because you'll come up against plenty of Sheffield Wednesday. Sheffield Wednesday is probably a poor example because they've got that annoying little twerp Barry Bannon. But most Championship sides won't have anyone near that quality in the middle of the park. So, I do think you need somebody next to him. If I'm honest, somebody.
This is a position we're waiting for. Everybody seems to be waiting for a big signing for defensive mid because it is so important to Parky's strategies to have a very solid defensive player there. James came in, and for all his kind of lacking in attacking prowess last season, he did the job he was required to do well. He was strong in defence first. So obviously, you just mentioned we have Lewis O'Brien now. If we can have a better version of that for the other position with James as the backup, that will be a really nice pivot at the back with our solid defence to help back up the three behind him, first of all, and then to play the ball forward into our more attacking formation. So I guess the other question there is the front three. Are we going to basically pull Windus back a little bit and make him part of the midfield, and then get two ahead of them? Or are we going to play the 1-1 with Windus and Moore or somebody else? Hopefully we can play about with that and pick and choose which sort of way we're going to go for it. Because obviously Windus, even if he plays in the middle, formations are fluid and he can push forward and make it an attacking tree. And this is why we want the double pivot with strong defense, is to allow him to move off as well.
Yeah, I don't think you can ask Windus to play any deeper, shall we say, than the 10 role as such. You don't want him coming deeper into midfield because that's not his strong point. So you want him further forward. But yeah, like you said, it's interesting because the one thing you've got options, lots of them going forward. I think the only thing that probably could sort of curtail you a little bit will be Parky will have his set way of playing and the players will have to fit into it, if you know what I mean. I don't see him suddenly changing the whole front to just because he's got Broadhead, Windus, Moore, he's not suddenly going to change the front line to fit more players in. I think he'll have his way of playing, and it will just be a rotation of who you're playing against to be horses for courses. Some games Keith Moore will not play. He will not start. You'll be playing against some defences which
go for a flat two.
Yeah, go for a flat two, or you could, like I said, come up against a Blackburn who are a team of giants at the back there, where you'll probably think, actually, Big Kiefer's not necessarily the way forward here. The mobility and stuff of Broadhead is the way to go, possibly. So, but it's all, as managers will always say at this level, it's about having those options available in your squad. So you're not then suddenly one-dimensional and easy to predict, that you have multiple strings to your bow. But you just got to use them correctly.
Yeah, so I'm going to say Cody at the back. We need him in that middle. We don't really have anybody else that you're kind of sure of. Scar and O'Connell, most likely one of them is going. The rumour at the moment is O'Connell might get to stay because he can cover Max and cover the side on the right as well. So maybe he'll get the multifunction role there, that he can cover more spots to a higher level, but he's not quick. So we definitely need Cody to be fixing up this back line. And then for me, with Windus out, I really want Kakacha back on the left, because I think we're going to go back to a little bit more old school and push our wingers and crosses coming in. And we can play into anybody really. Maybe Kiefer, but I can only pick two. So I could do without Kiefer and have two flat up the front, potentially, if we're going to go back to our winger style. And hopefully Kakacha being quick and Longman on the other side. But if Barney can cover that too, if necessary.
Yeah, I think the only thing that I would say, that I wouldn't say disappointing me, but the only thing that I, as an outsider watching in your game on the weekend, was how Plan A was kind of get the ball out wide, cross it, and there wasn't any sort of thought of doing any different, and it was just constantly, and it made it quite easy for West Brom to defend that in a way, because they knew what was coming. And I just kind of thought at some point you're going to change this up, or but it just seemed to be a constant, right, get the ball out wide and cross it in. And for me, it just all became a little bit too predictable. And especially when the third goal went in, it kind of just flattened it, because it was just like, we don't look like getting back into this. So that would be that would be my only criticism, that maybe, there needs to be sort of sometimes a different plan to attack a team rather than just constantly trying the same thing that hasn't worked for.
Yeah, and the one thing I would say about that is once Windass came off, it just blocked off all those middle pathways. We have always had issues trying to get up through the center of the pitch, and then Windass brought in that dynamic attack from the middle, and without him, that fell flat, which meant we went back to the crosses again. Which is why I think this weekend without him, or this week when we're playing Sheffield Wednesday, we're going to go back old school and do more of that. But Kiefer will probably be up front for that. Obviously, with crosses coming in with somebody else, and that could very easily be enough to take out Wednesday if our defence holds up, because they are capable of scoring if you're going to allow them through the defence. So that'll be a danger. But we'll see how we go on that one. So I think that's pretty much it, unless there's any other particular area that we have missed. Guys, any quick questions? Okay, let's do this one. 1 minute to get in some interesting questions, or we are done. We are over 90 minutes, so we're in the extra time. Follow-up question: who is our Fletcher-like super sub we really need on at the 65th minute? Okay, I'm going to argue with this and say you shouldn't need a super sub. We have had a super sub who saved our ass, and this was the super sub that I said we shouldn't have signed so early in the season last year, because we could have waited until the end of August and then still got him if we needed him. However, I was completely proven wrong. Fletcher saved our ass numerous times, got us the points we needed, and got us promoted. Now, somebody has put up there Ollie Palmer is the new Fletcher. And I'm not even going to show it on screen. I will say it because it was put there. I was thinking about it for a second. Will I post? No. It can stay there. You can read it in the chat. Fletcher is not a super sub. We don't look like we have one at the moment. We don't have the depth. Last year, teams were scared of our bench because it's like, oh shit, fucking last 20 minutes, now this guy's coming on. We don't have that. We don't have the depth this season. We are struggling somewhat on our bench in areas. So we don't have one, and we're not going to have one this season. We'll just have to do without it.
Unless somebody steps up like a Sam Smith, like he did on the weekend.
Okay, that's a good shout, actually. That is a good shout. Sam Smith could be that if he comes on at 70 minutes with a fresh pair of legs, he could potentially bang in a few goals.
Yeah, because he's a little bit of everything, isn't he? He's a bit physical. He's not slow. He's energetic. He gets around, and as you've seen, last season he can score goals. So, not saying he's going to be Fletcher, like, shall we say, in regards to coming off and seem to score every time he come off the bench, but maybe that role does fall to Sam Smith this season.
And it is interesting because sometimes with the super sub idea, certain players are just really good with a fresh pair of legs against a tired defense.
Yeah,
they know how to get in between them, and it's kind of a skill or a talent that you can figure out. So Smith will obviously trying to be fighting for a first place spot on the team throughout the season. Might take him a while to do that. Might take him a couple of injuries here and there. But I will see if he starts, if he can bang those goals, and I hope he can. But maybe fresh legs coming on a little later might be his perfect role, and he might bang in 7, 8, 9 goals across the season if he can do that role. It's possible.
We could do with a super sub as well. I think everyone could, to be fair.
Yeah. Hardy's an interesting one. He seems to have come in comfortable with not being a starting 11. I'm not sure what he was told. This is one thing I would love occasionally is I would love to know what this player was told
Yeah.
when they were coming in.
Yeah.
It's
a question we ask at Birmingham a lot as well, because like we signed Alfie May, and then a week later we signed Stansfield. It's like, did May know that was happening?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, like you said with Hardy, it would be interesting to see what he was told. But I think I'm not sure. I mean, when you guys signed him, I didn't think he was necessarily going to be a starting 11 player for you. I always thought he would be a bench option, personally.
Yeah, interestingly, I actually was maybe the other way around. When I heard we were getting in Kiefer Moore, I almost thought he would be the super sub, coming on later with the fresh pair of legs, the big head, the headers and stuff like that. I almost thought he would actually play that role, but it seems to have flipped the other way around with him and Hardy. But we'll see how that plays out over the rest of the season. Welsh Tech is reminding everybody we're going to lose a lot of players. We have a long list of players, many, of course, who are fringe players that simply won't be here or won't be listed, so won't be able to play once this closes. But I do still believe we'll have 2 more names. It's my opinion. Any more than that, I'll actually be surprised that we've gone so heavy. I'm going to say something now that people may not like, actually, that I was thinking about earlier when I was watching the chat before us, is I don't think any of our players are Premier quality players, or potential Prem quality players at the moment. They don't have the speed. Looking at the speed that is played by the top teams in this division now, I don't think we have any. And people were bringing up, well, why are we not bringing in the 21-year-old, bulking up the team, because we don't have an academy to bring players through? Why are we not spending the money now on young players that over the next 2 or 3 seasons can improve to a level that they may be able to get a shot at the Prem if and when we manage to get up there?
Cost you a fortune is the honest answer.
I know, but this is the question. It very much looks like, again, we're bulking up with some players that are only going to last 2 or 3 years, and then they will be done.
Yeah.
So is that the type of player that you want when you're then going up? Because if you go up, you almost immediately have to bin them and say they're not good enough.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting one, because the strategy has worked in the last couple of seasons to get us out of that league, but I don't think it's good enough to get us out of the league yet. Obviously, we need the rest of the team, but just looking at the team, I don't know that there's anybody in it. Even Cody and like Kiefer Moore and Lewis O'Brien, maybe, but again, probably not.
Yeah, but
bench player, okay. I mean, an extra bench player, that's fine. But I mean, a real starting 11.
Yeah.
And that's a chance you can take with some young players.
Yeah. But the honest answer is, if you were asking me, I don't think we've got that many, shall we say. That, Stansfield, Clara, possibly. Though I know everyone glorifies Clara, but for Premier League level, I'm not sure he has the speed to be Premier League level. I'm not convinced Paik possibly. Iwata, I don't think so. The Premier League is, Championship's a big jump. Premier League's a chasm when you're talking quality-wise. I mean, we've seen it in the Championship for season after season, where people come in outperforming the Championship, and are the league's best players by a distance. They go up to the Premier League and they're nowhere. They are nowhere near. So, you look at our transfer business. We haven't signed any young players. Everyone has been over the age of 25. Yeah. I mean, we've even signed sort of, Giogo's 30. The German Dutch guy, he's 31. Damari Gray's 29. We've signed sort of experienced quality right now, and there is no way. A lot of them are, Gray. Yes, he could make it the Premier League, but a lot of that I fully expect if we got promoted this season, we're having a huge turnover of squad when we get there. But then that's what you've got to do if you are wanting to try and survive in the Premier League. The honest answer is you've got to go up, pretty much throw your team out the way and spend 200 million quid. Unfortunately, that's where you're at with the Premier League. You look at Sunderland; they've signed 11 new players now. So unfortunately, that's what you got to do, because realistically, most of the players that perform and even perform at the highest level in this division are not going to be good enough when you get to the Premier League. So
let's follow that train of thought a little bit. If Birmingham go up this season, right, whether it's in the top two if they manage, or whether it's through playoffs, and they get up next season, do you think your owners are crazy enough to try and survive that first season?
Yes.
Okay. Do you think that all the rules and PSOs and all this, can they afford to swap out 60% of their team?
Probably.
Yeah.
Basically, what they've been saying with that, if we were to get promoted this season, revenue-wise, we would actually be on par with what they're saying is potentially mid-table Premier League sides. Then you add the Premier League TV money on top of that. Yes, we would have to rely on. I mean, you're not going to jettison your whole squad. You're going to have to rely on, some of the squad being able to be bench players and come on and affect games, which is why I think, some of the players we've got, like the Dutch guy, Gray and all that, they have potential and have performed at the top level before. So they have that experience, and, they will no doubt put eggs in baskets of, the likes of Clara and maybe Paik and a few others, and Tommy Doyle, for example, who we've got the obligation to buy if we go up, that has performed and proven that he can play at Premier League level. But I think if we get there, they're not simply going to take the money and build a championship super team like Ipswich have done, essentially, with the proviso. And look, if we get there, they'll be looking to say, no, we're staying. They've publicly come out and said that's the aim. They want to get the Premier League and stay there.
Yeah, I really hope our owners are not crazy enough to try and do it. If we were to get up there, I mean, barring that we're not here for the next 4 seasons, building up the biggest team we can get slowly, piece by piece, and then potentially getting investors when we go up and doing it then. If it comes quick, if it comes in the next couple of seasons, we get into the playoffs and sneak through, let's say. I just don't want them to do it because it's so bloody difficult. I think they should go the Ipswich route and make themselves a massive championship team and just bring them up to the Prem, let them have a season of experience, see if any of them individually are good enough, and if they are, maybe they get sold on when you come back down for bigger money, and then you go again. And you wait for the next season because you've got that year or two of extra money, and we need it as a club. Being so far down the divisions and stuff, I know we're earning a lot of money, and over multiple seasons, we're going to get stronger and stronger because we can spend. We have our own cash to do that, but it'll take multiple seasons to get up to a Ipswich-like squad.
Yeah. The problem you've always got is if you went up, come back down, yes, your squad overall gets better, you would argue. But when you get back up again, you've still got the same problem.
You still got to rotate everybody.
Yeah. You are still going to have to get to the point that if you want to survive, I think Ben Bloom did a video on it recently where he was basically saying, is the only way to survive in the Premier League breaking PSR like Forest did? Do you go up and say, right, we're going to spend 200 million quid, we're going to break PSR and potentially get a 6 or 8 point deduction or whatever it may be, and just bank on the fact that the players we bring in are good enough that will make up the 6-8 points to survive?
But that'll come the following season anyway. Yeah. Because obviously, like, if you're going to break PSR, then you want to be surviving because of it, because you've literally put so much investment in. Now, then you get your second season of Prem, and you've another 200 million.
Yeah.
Now you upgrade your squad again.
Yeah.
Now you have to survive and take the 6 points.
But I think the Premier League have changed their rules, haven't they? So if you break the PSR or whatever it is, you get deducted that season. I think they've changed their rules, so you don't.
Are they quick enough to get through the process?
I think they are. Yeah, I may be wrong, but I swear I read somewhere, because there was the sort of it's the rule of after the horse is bolted sort of thing. They were saying that to avoid sort of encouraging teams to do that, essentially, spend loads of money, survive, then you get hit with a points deduction next season, but then you bank to, like you said, another 200 million quid. You've already built a huge squad. You've got then 3 teams that have come up which are arguably not as strong as you and are not going to do the same as you. You can then spend again. So yeah,
just posted that there from Sean. Fair enough point. And this is partly why I say that. Is first season up, don't go ridiculous with the money, save some of it or spend it on whatever needs to be done so that it's out of the way. Maybe take 50 million and throw it into the training academy we'll be building at the time or whatever. And for me, is you just go to the top championship clubs and you say, we want your best players or whatever, people who are ready to have a shot at it, and bring them up with you. And look, tell them this is it. This is your shot. If you can survive as a Prem player and other teams want you, we'll sell you. You can have your own name, and we're going to have a shot at it. Look, maybe we can do something together as an amazing team. And if we don't, and we come back down, fine. We're going to go. The aim is always come straight back up.
Yeah,
and do that little bounce and lose 100 million by not being up in the Prem, but then take your parachute money and hopefully come straight back up and get another 200 million again and build that way.
Yeah, because the parachute payments is such an advantage. That's plain and simple of it, is you have such an advantage over the rest of the league. But again, it's like I said with our owners, if we get up, I don't see them thinking that way. I think they'll be like, we're going to stay, because the fact is, as much as those parachute payments are an advantage, there is always a Sheffield
United,
guarantee. And there is Stoke City, prime example, came down with parachute, blew so much money trying to get back up, and have not finished above 16th since they got relegated. So there is always that. And Norwich, used to be yo-yo, up and down, but you miss out on that one season, and then your whole philosophy and your whole game plan's gone to shit, sadly.
Yeah, the one thing I suppose that we have to somewhat rely on is the fact that we're actually generating a lot of income ourselves, compared to other teams. And it may not seem like a lot, but if you have your parachute money and then you also have another 25 million more than every team around you, that also is a big deal. Because that's another chunk. And it does count because you can pay your wages.
Yeah,
that's what it means. Like, you're not going to go broke with your strong team, and especially if you're very careful with your contracts. If you go up knowing you're coming down, then you're telling players, look, these contracts will be reduced coming back down again. Simple as that. So you don't get yourself in ridiculous scenarios.
It's not rocket science, is it?
It's not if you're making money, but the problem for a lot of teams is they're not making the money.
No.
And they're hoping for this windfall. And then what are you going to do with your windfall? You have to spend it on a team that is going to get you relegated. It's so bloody difficult to do. So even if you go and spend every penny, now you come back down and you're screwed, because you've got your parachute payment. Your parachute payment is wiped trying to survive with the team you have, because they're all, you brought them in on big money because you were hoping to stay up there. Now you have no more money. So you've got your team for one season. And if you don't do it, then even more leave. Some will leave when you come back down. and need to be replaced. But then the following season, like Sheffield United, more people start going, get bad recruitment, and you're screwed.
Yeah. I mean, it's like you come down, there's 2 other parachute teams with you. So if you aren't having the best of season, you might finish 3rd, which a normal, might not sound bad, but to a parachute team means you're not automatic. You've got to go through the playoffs. And as Sheffield United found out last season, anything can happen in the playoffs. And it only needs one missed control from Kiefer Moore, as it was.
Yeah.
And then, all of a sudden your whole club plan is up in smoke. So, it's that gamble everyone's looking to do, isn't it? That's the thing. That's why everyone spends so much money, because they all look at the Premier League and the riches it can do and just think, oh, you've got a chance. And, it's tough. It's tough getting out of this league, especially if you don't have parachute payments.
Yeah. And here's the one thing that obviously our money can come from if they want to go for it. If and when we get up there, they have a lot of billionaire friends for investment into the club, and they have a lot of shares available. They have a large portion of the club, obviously, they still own. They can sell off a nice chunk of it to earn a decent enough war chest. I still don't think it'll be enough for a season without going ridiculously crazy. I think they should just take the cash and run and do it again.
It depends where your starting point is, isn't
it?
Yes,
it does. Yeah. Which is fair. Like, that's the difference between Birmingham and us at the moment. Like we just said, I don't think there's anybody who would be good enough to be a starting 11 with a first-year squad up in the Championship. Whereas at least you have some players that you would keep because you need to get all the other spots sorted. But yeah, they have a lot of space for investment if they want to take the money in and go for it. So that'll be interesting. So guys, on that bombshell, billionaire friends, they're going to get us a Prem squad when we get up there. And you know what? Do we want Birmingham to get out of here and just piss off up to the Prem and stay up there for the first season so they don't come back down and we don't have to deal with them again? Then we can go up the year after. Sounds like a plan to me.
I won't be offended if that happened.
Yeah. Right, guys. So almost 2 hours we're hitting on this one. Hope you had a good time. Hope you enjoyed everything. Do all that liking, commenting, subscribing, all that good stuff. Thank you very much to everybody who super chatted again in the chat tonight. We greatly appreciate it, or certainly Josh does, because I don't get paid any of it. But thanks, guys. I enjoyed it too, and we will see you again very soon. On that bombshell. Bye.